Hi, my name's Beverly Levy Smith. I'm 46 years old and I'm from Leeds. I just want to share with you, what the Lord's done in my life, how He changed me. I was an only child and brought up in a Christian home, and even though I got all the love and everything I needed as a child, I was very rebellious. And as I grew, the rebelliousness grew. It really got out of hand by the time I was 17. My parents didn't know what to do with me, and it got to the stage where my parents really didn't have any control over me. I'd do what I want when I wanted, and my dad got to the stage where he gave me an ultimatum, really, that if I couldn't live by their rules, I'd have to get my place to live. And I did that, and I thought it was great at first, no one telling me what to do, when to do it. And it wasn't long before I was in bad company and getting myself into trouble. By the time I was 18, I served my first prison sentence, and that was very devastating for my parents. But I really give thanks to my mum, because that's when she really started to pray for something to happen to change my life. And I came out from that prison sentence knowing more than when I went in, really, and carried on. 21, I was in prison again, and my life was just really getting from bad to worse. But I didn't think so. I thought, because I had designer clothes and I had money and a nice car, I thought that was it, that was everything. But as I got older, I had 2 boys in that time, and they spent most of the time with my parents, because my life was just so, upside down, really. And to cut a long story short, by the time I was 32, I was a prolific criminal. I served another prison sentence, and that really made me start to think about my life and where I was going, and what was going to happen with my children, if I didn't change. And you say to yourself, yeah, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this, but when you've got so much background, it's very hard to get a job. And I wanted to change, but didn't really know how to, or so I thought. But God had a massive plan for my life, and that started to unfold. One day I had a really bad car accident. I fell asleep at the wheel, and the car crashed and turned over 3 or 4 times. And in the midst of that, I felt the presence of the Lord. I felt Him speak to me and give me an ultimatum. This is your last chance, was what the words I heard. And the car stopped on its roof, and the car was a heap of metal. When I was pulled out of that wreckage without a mark, without a scratch, with no injuries whatsoever, I knew that it was God that spared my life. Even the police and the ambulance, they were just completely shocked. I couldn't believe that I'd survived such a serious accident. And that's when my life started to change, really, because I started to go back to church. I made a commitment to the Lord that I was going to change. But that's when everything went mad. That's when I really realised that I was a crack addict, that I was a junkie, because I realised then that I had a crack habit. 2.5 grand a week I was spending on crack cocaine. And no matter how I tried to stop, I just couldn't. It was like it had a grip of me. And I felt so guilty going to church, professing to be a Christian. But then when I went home, I was smoking all this crack and, lying to my parents and lying to my kids. And it come to an end when I decided I was going to take my own life. I thought I'd be rather dead, because I couldn't understand how God could save me from such a bad car accident and leave me a crack addict. It just didn't seem right, it didn't seem fair. And I made a decision to kill myself. And I went to church the evening, and there was a minister there that preached a sermon that said, sometimes God allows you to go to the very bottom before He lifts you up and makes a way for you. And that, it usually meant that He had a massive plan for your life, and you had to go through certain stuff. And I started to wonder if that's what He was doing with me. And I went to speak to the minister, and he suggested I get professional help for my problem. And he got me in touch through somebody else in the church to an organisation called Teen Challenge. And Brian, the manager, he met me, and I could see he thought that I was a scammer because of the way I was dressed and the way I looked. I didn't look like a conventional junkie, but it was just a front. Inside I was a junkie, and I was absolutely messed up. And he got me off the Teen Challenge on the 2nd of August 2005. And that was a big day for me, because I went away thinking that I was just going down there to get off drugs, not realising that my biggest addiction wasn't the drugs, it was the rebelliousness. My attitude was stinking. I was obnoxious, and that had to change. And down at Teen Challenge, the teachings to make you look at yourself and look at the choices that you made in your life, and you know, I seen the choices that I made were my choices. It wasn't. I used to blame everybody else, my parents, my friends. You know, that's what made me realise it was my doing. It was the choices that I made. You know, when they broke me down there. That's the only thing I could say. That broke me, but they built me back up again into the person that God really wanted me to be. A woman of integrity, a woman with compassion for people and for things. And you know, my life changed. You know, 4 years on now, I'm employed by Teen Challenge. You know, I do a lot of work in the community, and I work with the youth in my church. You know, and I'm invited to go all over, you know, to give my testimony, to speak at conferences. You know, and I'm really blessed that, you know, the Lord's chosen me and that He's given me a work to do, and I just give Him all the glory, I give Him all the praise, because I know that if it wasn't for Him, I would probably be dead. You know, I wouldn't be here today. And I never forget to thank Him and know that it's because of Him that I'm